Yo, let's get right into the end of day for today. Uh, Another wonky little day, I think. What is today? Tuesday. Um, yeah, I think the final output is just not enough from myself, and things need to change, man. If I am going to if I'm going to be able to show up more, right? To be able to show up more, like things just need to change. Things just need to change because honestly, I've been just a tiny bit lazy, right? Enough to a point that I'm not even like adjusting my swing high, as you can see here. It's just a a bunch of complacency, right? Because okay, obviously I know my swing high is there, my swing low is there, my internal is here, but it's becoming too bad. Right, it's becoming a little bit too bad where I'm just not. I don't want to say not taking notice of it, but like it's the small things they add up, right? The smallest things like simply just moving or extending rather the swing high line, right? I just don't do stuff like that, and I think part of what hurts the baseline, right? Because you come in the morning, then just glance, right? See that okay, I did have an eyeballs here. Obviously, I'm looking for cells there, but that's all it is, right? No checking of what is the 4 hour narrative, right? Where are my 4 hour internal zones? None of that, right? No longer doing none of that because it's all mental, 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 mental. And most of the time, you're more than likely to forget where specific zones are, or what phase you're in on different time frames, right? Because you don't go back, or not even say you, but I don't go back and check. Okay, that's what my 4 hour internal is doing. Are we gonna continue down, right? Deeper pullback after the break of structure, or is the pullback finished? That narrative is not in mind. Only the M15, which is not necessarily bad, but it's not great either. It's definitely not great either. So I really need to fix that. Right, fix that. Also, just get back on top of recording all my trades. Right, I'll just stop being as complicit as I am. Right, because I'm just a little bit too complicit, and then month end when it's time for the review, it's gonna be hard for me to recall where I did what wrong because halfway through the month I just stopped recording the trades and whatnot. Yes, I'll obviously remember. Yes, there aren't. I haven't taken any bad losses these like month and a half start of 2026, but just the complacency alone has left a whole lot of profit on the table. So solving one side of the equation, which was literally just less mistakes, is definitely not enough, right? Because the downtrend will still be the downtrend as long as I don't solve the showing up halfway showing up halfway. How am I not logged in? Never mind. Just wanted to check my. But anyway, I digress. Today for EURUSD we had an IBOS, right? We've had this range for the past like 4 days last week, and then finally we have a breakout. So obviously after a fresh breakout, right, market has chosen a side finally, which is to go lower, and then IBOS. Then I'm just looking for continuation on this flip sweep zone, right? Because this was a movement up, move down. This is liquidity, right? Sweeps the liquidity. Is the flip zone reacting to whatever was left in here as well, right? Decent pivot POI. Looking for the straight entry in there. Took the trade and then we took a loss on that, and then it goes in our direction. Cool. Yeah, no real complaint with that one. I still think it's a valid trade. Not the highest probability because there is a million POIs to pick from within here. But yeah, that I guess we do take the L on that one. Another thing, I don't look at like these pivots over here. It's not really a pivot, it's a POI, but is it a pivot? I don't think this is a pivot POI. Okay, the market comes down, sweeps right there, reacts, comes back, reacts here. So this is like the pivot of this leg here, the best pivot. Because what's in there is tiny, what's in there is tiny. This is like your best leg where you can see that momentum truly and really comes in. So if obviously there's a chalk in the leg, you would look for the entry on the 5-minute. Yeah, usually I don't like using LC1. I need to do case studies, bro. If there's one thing I really need to do is a whole lot more case studies and just figure out I don't want to add LC1 sometimes do make sense, right? Like in this case where sweeping of all this liquidity in here does make sense to then come in here, go lower. But then who's to say you don't sweep the Asian? You know, it just gets a little bit complicated. But I think anyway, the loss in here is not, it's not a bad one. I don't use LC1 entries, so I can't say there was a valid LC1 trade in there, but I don't use LC1, right? So I'm not too mad at that. It's something to look at, but it's not a end all and be all missed trade, right? But it's something to look at. So yeah, this loss in the GU, yeah, it just started going crazy as soon as, even before London session, right? 9 o'clock, Frankfurt Open. Sold. This was news, sold, came back up, but really my pivot POI is in there, right? Another complacency thing. It's not mapped out, but it doesn't really matter because it wouldn't touch anyway. But it does matter because it's, even if it's the littlest, man, even if it is the tiniest, it should be in there, right? End of the day, should be in there. Could have maybe looked for, I don't really trade the 1 hour POI. Does hit the 1 hour POI, but I don't really trade the 1 hour POI. So 15-minute wise, yeah. Also, you wouldn't expect such a small zone to like stop this much momentum. That would be insane. So no valid trade in there. And we finally got a swing break here, so we'll see tomorrow what happens. And then BSD CAD, we had a valid trade in here with a valid idea. Also, I need to clean up the charts a little bit. Got a lot of old zones in there that we gotta clear out. So the idea on this one was we had a boss yesterday, right? Break of structure, and then the market is moving correctly upward. And then during Frankfurt, we touched this for our POI, right? Huge POI. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, huge POI, nice pivot POI down here. So obviously, I would look to buy in here, and then target just a little bit deeper into the POI, right? Not past the POI, because I don't want to aim for a 4 POI to fail for me to take profit, right? So that doesn't make sense. And so then as soon as I have this breaking close here, I'm looking for the entry in there. The market, as I'm watching it, comes into this point and then immediately just starts moving out. I have not set my pending order at that time, right? Also, another thing I do now that I think is beneficial, more especially when the target is nice and open like this and you have space to target, right? Your 3R, I do open up the stop loss to cover for this low here, because this is like a movement up, movement down, movement up, but you don't have a definitive close, right? So this is also still like the actual low, right? Cover the low in the stop loss. Had I been on my toes, had I set the pending order, as soon as this breaks, set the pending order, set an alert so that I can delete maybe the pending order if there is something changes, right? I can delete the pending order. If nothing changes, I don't have to scramble at the last minute and take the trade, right? I've already missed it at this point. There is no point taking it in here, right? Because I've already missed it here. And then do I really want to chase it in here is the question. I could have chased it because it was still valid essentially. So, but yeah, the bad thing is just the not being on my toes, right? Not shouldn't be calculating like stop losses and order sizes when it hits the POIs. I'm already late. All of that especially for the 15-minute risk entry, all of that needs to be done way before. Way before. So yeah, changes need to be made again. Not even okay, slight changes, but I need to lock the fuck in is what needs to happen. I need to lock the fuck in. That's what needs to happen. Sense of urgency is important, right? There's no need to waste time like making silly mistakes like that. Not essentially not a mistake, it's literally me just being complacent, right? I don't have time for that. It needs to change. Simple as that.